welcome to another amazing day at fmtraining.tv, where we're here to discuss the fantastic and wonderful FileMaker and Claris platforms. My name is Margaret. I will be your broadcast engineer for today. I am here with the fantastic Nick Hunter, who is one of the preeminent developers, frankly, for FileMaker in general. He does a really fantastic job, and he spent many months with us now doing little mini-series or longer series on a variety of topics. Now that we are done, Nick, what are we doing today?
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Mark, for the
Hmm.
introduction, and hello, everybody. So today we're doing kind of a reload of something I already talked about a couple of months ago, and but I want to bring that because something changed on this. So this is something I've done for a friend of mine, and he asked me my help, and I said, okay, I can help you. And I wanted to take the opportunity to do this and then to show during the webinar what I've done. So so I want to show the audience the real challenge that I'm taking. So and sometimes they are head scratching kind of a challenge because you have many things to take in account, right? The speed, the reliability, easy to use. So you have many things to take in account. So it's not just sometimes it's not just building a script. It can be very complicated. And what I want to demonstrate is when you get the logic and you put a logic in the middle of the process. When I say logic, is a human logic. Say, okay, so I have data, right? And I want to do things with this data. And what can I do to solve the problem using like a simple mind thinking, right? Just thinking about something and saying, oh, now I have a method, because I'm using the logic. And all, it's not always a matter of knowing the technique. It's often is to think about, right? Um, and to have a process. And I know that is a very difficult process, is to picture the thing in your head, and then out of this you put everything in your mind, right? And then out of this you have an idea and then you have a method, and thanks to that method now you can use technique, in order to get the results, right? So so let's start with the problem. So you will recognize the problem that I already talked about, right? So the problem we had and needed to fix is to get something like this. So what is this? It's a month scheduling with people, and you have turns, shifts, right? So you have two types of shifts, and then you have day offs. Okay. So the challenge was here this is how you build the shifts. Okay. So uh, you have a month. So from the first to the 28, 29, 30, 30, 31st, depending on the month. And you want like I'm going to show here. So two uh, you want two T1. So it's a term. The T1 is the morning shift, the day shift, right? And you have the T2 is the night shift, night. So for each guy in that scheduling, right, need to do 2 days of T1, 2 days of T2, and 2 days of day offs, and then turn again. Two of T1, two of T2, two of the off. So you for each. So let's start again. Let's start with a new one. Let's do August. Let's do September. September. Oh, Okay, so you have one guy, you have another guy, and you have another guy. Okay, and you generate the calendar. So the calendar will generate the thing. Say, okay, you start with T1, T1, T2, T2, off, T1, T1, T2, T2, off, T1, T1. Okay. So that was, but when when the first guy is doing the T1, this guy need to do a T2 because you need the day to be filled and you have one guy off. Then when this guy is doing the T2, this one is off and this one is doing the T1. And when this one is off, this one doing the T1, this one doing the T2s, and etc., like this, like this, like this, like this. Okay. So when I build this, so here we can see, okay, we build this, we say we have two T1, two T2, and two day offs, right? So we have two of this. So the logic, right, here, that I already explained that, was to create the days, right, and get kind of a list of the shifts. So let me show you, okay? So I'm creating a schedule. So let's do October, right? And I'm putting my guys, okay? So this turn is 3 guys, right? That 3 by 2, 3 guys, 2 days, right? 2 days of each. So I have my 3 guys here, right? So when you have something like this to do, you need to put down the thing on the table, right? And say, okay, what do I need to do first? First, I need to create the days of the calendar, right? So this is what I have to do, right? And then when I have the calendar, when I have the days, right? I'm 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 telling that I want to create the shifts that goes for those days, right? So to create the month, you know, we have a script here that creates the month for us. So we create the month days. Okay, so we create records in the calendar. So we pre-create the calendar, right? So we go to the calendar, right? And we create the days. So let's do it. Let's do it. And I want to show you the process. Okay. And this one. So this is how you do this is how you can demonstrate the PSOs without to be a PSOs, right? So you open a new window and press the script and then you close the window. So when I have my 3 guys creating here, I can go there and generating their calendar. So to generate the calendar, I need many things because I need to connect the dots. So you know that I always use value list, a list of values, right? In order to get my things done. So as much as I can, I'm extracting the data, right, from records. I'm not trying to use records. I'm extracting the records and I'm putting that in variable in our like values, right? So here I'm collecting my informations, right? So I have everything ready here. This is what I need in order to process the scripts. So I'm prepare myself. So let's have a look at what I have. The current month is 10. Yeah, we are in October, so it's 10. I have the list of my free here, my 3 guys, 1, 2, 3. So I have 3 guys, 1, 2, and 3, right? And then I have the schedule IDs. So because this was the employee ID of those people, they have an employee ID, but this is the record ID of this. So I have 2 IDs. I have the employee ID and I have the schedule ID. Okay. And here I have the shift ID. That means I have a table where I have shifts and then I can collect what the shift is, right? So I have those IDs in memory and they are always available to me and to process to execute, to perform the script. So here I have the variable. I'm putting everything in one variable. So when I have this, I'm creating a variable I call parameters, because then here I'm collecting everything in one, right? So pretty much this look like this, you know. So here I'm demonstrating methods, right? So I have all my parameters here, right, together. So then I'm ready to send that to the scripts. You know, I'm sending that to the scripts. So that's the method to do. You know, when you do this, you select those things, you split in as many parts you need for debug purposes, right? And for better understanding. When you have something complicated, it's good to have all the pieces of the puzzle on the table, right? And then you gather them because it's easier to understand what's going on here. So you need to because this parameter I'm going to send to multiple scripts, not only one. I'm sending to one script and I'm going to send to another one. So it's better because if you do a change like this, if you add a parameter, for example, you modify this, and then you add this, and then all your scripts are good, because they rely on this. So you change this, and then you don't need to think about changing the parameters in multiple scripts. You change once, and that's it, right? That's why I'm doing this. So now, I'm opening a new window, which I am in calendar now. And then inside the script that generate the dates, right? Again, in that script, I am extracting and I'm pretty much dissecting my parameters. Here, I'm putting myself a reminder of what the parameter should be, okay? Here, for example, I added the fifth one. It's new, and I forgot to put here, but So when you send the parameters, you extract the parameters in different variable. Then the rest of the scripts can use them, can use them. Oh. So I use them. You take one parameter with multiple values inside, and then you dissect everything, and then you collect everything, right? So here now I have a new set of variable with my current shifts, the employee ID, the free guys, the scheduling IDs, the free schedule, and the month. So I'm taking back inside my scripts, right? So I continue, right? And then here I'm taking the list of days. So this is what I need to create. So I'm generating out. So here, this variable, that will be a list of values with the days, right? So how this looks like, list of days, okay? This is all the days I need to create. I need to create all of this, okay? So now, so far, I didn't do any creation of records. I didn't modify anything. I didn't even commit anything. I did everything in memory, in variable, right? So what is this list of values? Not this, what is the list of values? List of days. What is list of days, right? So here is the same, So when you want to create something here, right? So you use whatever you can do, all the arsenal you have on your disposal to do this, right? Here the challenge, right? And I'm going to come back to this. The challenge was to create the start date and the end date. Okay, so the start date and the end date. That's what you need to do, right? You need to what's the name? Get a range, and to do that, right? I'm using a custom function that I created that you can use that will create a date, a range of dates from a start date to a not to a, from a start date to an end date. So, for example, if I say this and I say 01, 10 to 22, right? And right, and I'm saying this and I'm saying this 31st. Or I don't have 30. 01, 10, no, it's 10, sorry, because I am in 10, 01, okay? And here it's 10, right, 31st. So the custom function, right, will automatically generate a list of values, right? And from the first of the month until the 31st of the month, right? So this is possible if you try to do this on a record level. That means you want to create records, right? Based and you want to create the records as and change the date as you create the records. You cannot do this because I could have done this because I can use a custom function and I can use the values, which is much easier than creating records, right? So so you generate first what you do, you generate your list of days. I'm going to come back on this, right? You generate the list of days, and then now it is easy to create the it is easy to create the calendar, right? Because I have my range from the 1st to the 31st of the month is in memory, right? I have values, so I have 31st, 31 values, right? Then here, now I can create my calendar. Remember, I have 3 guys, I have 3 person. So I need to create the calendar 3 times. I need to create a calendar for 3 people. So that will be 31 records per 3 people. So now I need to take an account on this. So yesterday I was explaining loops, right? And nested loop, how that works, okay? So here, so yesterday I was doing this for something completely different. And today I'm using exactly the same technique for something completely different. Right? So here what I've done, what I need to do. I've collected the list of the employee ID and the schedule ID, which is it's the same number of values. 3 guys, that means if I have 3 employee ID, I have 3 scheduling ID because it's 3 records. In one record, I have 2 IDs and I need to collect those 2 IDs. So I have 3 here. 1, 2. In those 2, I have 3 records. I have 3 values, right? So now I need to count those things, right? I need to count. Why? Because I'm going to do loops. When you do loops, you need to make sure that you have something that you can rely on to stop the loop when it needs to be stopped. The first loop I have, I'm counting how many schedules I have. In that case, I have 3 schedules. So let's see if that is the case. I have schedule ID, I have 1, 2, and 3. So yes, I have 3 here. I have 3 guys here. Okay, I have 3. The count is 3 because I have 3 values, right? And then I continue, and I'm counting the number of days. I have 35 days. I'm going to explain that later. Why are 35 days? But you count the number of days you have in the month because you can have 28, you can have 30, you can have 31. So you count how many days you have in your values, right? How many values you have. So that's very easy. You know, I have my here are my list of days. I'm counting how many days I have, and here I'm counting how many schedule I have. So now that I have this, I'm starting the first loop. That means the first loop is I'm starting with the first guy on my list, you know. And when inside that, the first, I'm in the first guy, and here the second. So the first loop is okay. I'm taking the first guy. I'm saying the current schedule ID for. So if I continue the script like this, right, I have two counters. The first counter, right? The first counter, where's the counter? Okay, counter here. The first counter says, so I've counter, this counter is for the list of schedules, right? So I'm extracting here now, I'm going to extract the current schedule ID, which is 536, is the first of my list here. So I'm taking care of that guy, okay? When I extract those two guys here, so now I have the current schedule and the current employee, right? So the current employee ID is the first of my employee ID, is the first one because the counter says one. So I have the current employee ID and the current scheduling ID. So now I'm taking care of that guy. Now that I have this, I have another loop with another counter, and I'm saying I am in the counter number one. So now extract here the current month day, which is the first day of my list of days. So you see what happened here? So all of this so far, I didn't do anything on the record level. I did all of those things, all those IDs and stuff like that, extracted, manipulated, sent to a script and stuff like that, parameters, without modifying one single record. And this is why it's fast. It's because I don't have to create records and doing a virtual listing or whatever you want to do, or SQL. I don't do this, right? I don't. So far, everything here is pure memory. If my computer crashed right now, I have no trace of that I have done anything. Okay. So now that I have this, I have the current employee ID, the current month day, the current scheduling, the current shift ID. So now I'm ready to create a record that will use those things and put things in fields. So right now I'm doing a new record, and that record now has all the information I want inside it, right? Is there. The record is there, right? Is here. So I have all the information, the calendar, the date, I have everything. The dates, 9/27. I have the shift ID. I have the scheduling ID. I have the employee ID, and this is an auto entry, UUID. So I have everything that I need. It's there. Why? It's because I have an auto entry that is taking whatever on those variable, right? So you have an auto entry that put that in a variable. And here, I'm going to do this in that 31 time or 35 times, right? Because I have 35 days, and I'm going to explain this. So when I'm done with this, right? When I'm done with this, so I don't know if I can put that here. So it's going to do that, and then it's going to do that 35 times until the counter this reach 35, this one, and we'll go to the value count, say, okay, I have 35 days in my count. So when the counter reach 35, this equal 35, it will stop the loop and come back to the first one. This is how nested loop works. Okay, it's doing this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. It exits. When it exits, it goes back to the first, right? So now, what has happened here? Now I'm back on the second loop. So the first counter here says 2. So this employee ID now, right? It's the second row is 31, right? It's the second. See, where am I? Oh, I need to do that. So now it's going to collect. It's going to collect the replace the local variable with the value of the second guy. So this says counter number 2. So I have my list of scheduling. Now I should have the schedule 1291. I am in the current scheduling 1291, and I should be also in the employee ID 3107, employee ID 3107. I'm on this one, right? Right? So I am good. So now he can do that again, right? He can do that again with the new guys, right? So if I continue, I press play. So I do the loop again, 35 times, create record. For with those new guys that I took from the list of my original list when I listed the free. So this is a demonstration that I want you to demonstrate that it is not really complicated to understand, because you put all what you need on the table, and you have everything showing up in your data viewer. You have everything there. You can see everything is displayed. Everything displayed. I don't, because when you have something like this, what you want to be able to do is to debug, to see where is the situation, right? So the best way is to display everything like this, and you see where you are, right? And the beauty of this is you can see what happened. So now I'm done with the new guy. So now I'm number 3, the counter set 3. So of course, if I continue like this, right, now this guy, the current employee ID is the last one of this one is 3885. So, and et cetera, et cetera. So when I'm done with this, right? So let's put something here. Remove this. So let's move this, right? So let's continue this, right? Continue. So I'm creating my guys, right? So the loop is very simple. You don't try to put too much complexity in the loop, otherwise it will be slow. But take in mind that this execute on server. So this will take absolutely no time. I'm doing new record. That's all what I'm doing. I'm not doing anything else. So it will take no time to execute on server, like 3 seconds, something like this for the 3 guys, right? It's very fast. It's very efficient. Why? It's because nothing happened. It's everything. It's a custom function. It's parameters, values in memory, in variable, and I didn't modify anything. My scripts, the only modification that I will do in the file is new record, period. That's all what I'm doing. So now that I have my stuff done, okay, I want, remember, I am on server, right? So now I'm using this technique, say, okay, I'm going to my scheduling, right? I'm going to my scheduling because now that I have the calendar created for my scheduling, right? Here, this is my scheduling. I have the calendar created, okay? So I want now to display this information here, right? And to do so, I'm going there. I have the list of scheduling. Remember, I have my list of scheduling here. It's available to me. I'm setting a global. I'm using a transfer of font sets, right? And I'm saying, go to Red Records. So now I have my scheduling, my free scheduling. Those 3 here are those, right? Those are these, okay? Alex Daniel Nicholas. Alex Daniel Nicholas. I'm here. And now what I'm doing, I'm replacing one field, which is a trigger for auto entry calculation, right? So look what happened. I'm going to replace one field and I'm going to modify all of this. Replace, boom. You see the days here, they comes. I'm beginning on the 27th, and I'm going to explain why. That was part of the challenge, right? But that I will explain that tomorrow. So now that I have this done, okay, my calendar is created, right? My calendar is created, right? And remember, so I have my calendar. So if I go there, if I go here, and I'm taking the the schedule ID of this guy, okay. If I taking this, and if I go to the calendar, I can retrieve it, right? I'm going there, scheduling. This is the 35 days from the 27th to the 31st for that guy, right? So I have it. I have my records, right? So now how I can display this here, right? So remember here in that table, right? I have a field for each day, you know. So I have day one, day two, day three, etc. So I have a day, I have a field for each day. So here I have 31 fields, right? So, and here I have an auto entry calculation, right? And here I want to explain another time this technique here. Okay. I have a trigger. So how that works, how I can trigger an auto entry calculation on demand. I have a field here. I put that a timestamp because it can be helpful. Yeah. So I have a timestamp here because it's helped me to show me the last day, the last time, I updated this. That give you an example, give you kind of a clue what's going on. If you see you press a button and you have a script that supposedly need to update this, and you see that this didn't happen since 5 minutes or 10 minutes or an hour, you can see, oh, okay, my script is not modifying that script, that field. That's why, it's a matter of debugging. Thanks to this here, right, I have the auto entry calculation. So you put a let statement, so you need to learn about let statements. You put a let statement here, and you say inside the let statement, you put whatever you need. This will be the trigger. When I modify this field, all of this will happen. The only field I have here, it's a related field, right? So this is a local field. Auto entry calculation are triggered and processed only if one field inside this calculation is local. So if I don't put the trigger, I have no way to trigger this. If I don't put this, I have no way to trigger this because this is coming from another table and it won't be processed. So I need to have a local in that table. I need to have a local fields. And if I modify that field, then it will trigger. So here I have a technique here, and I'll demonstrate that. I have a list, this here, this is this. This is the calendar created for that guy, right? For that schedule, that's the calendar I have. And I want to display in one field each days, okay? So again, right? I'm using the list of value in order to extract this, take this, and then put each value in the right fields. But to avoid having to do that and copy paste and change and get, in order to get one calculation that pretty much works on everything just by duplicating, putting a number, changing, the calculation works, right? So in order to do this, I'm using a technique I already demonstrate, but I'm going to demonstrate again. I'm using the name of the field itself to get the right. Let's say the field name is date one. Okay. And here, so this, I don't need that for now. The field date is date one. Okay. The name of the field name is date one. If I select date two, so it selects from my list, it selects the first day. If I change this to date two, so the second, so I'm doing that on purpose to show you that I'm selecting the date, the fields. Is the field name is two, now it's taking the day after. If the name of the field is 13, is taking this. If the name, so then I'm extracting the last number of the field name. It's a number, and that number will tell me which value I need to get. This here, I'm extracting from the name of the field the last word. The last word is a number. That's why I'm naming my field like this: day one, day two, day three, day four, day. The name of the field itself will get the value from that list. So day one, I want the first day. Day two, I want the second day. Day three, I want the third day, etc. So this is a good technique, so you understand. Everything is combined together. I'm using list of values. I'm using the name of the fields. I have a calendar pre-populated in another table. I'm selecting I'm selecting those dates, right? Pull that in the memory, right? In the statement like this. So when you do this, that you need to know. When you do this in a let statement, it's pretty much like creating a variable. It's the same. It's like creating a variable. Okay. So we have a question. Trigger field must always need to, yes. When you have multiple tables, right, and you have auto entry calculation on fields for each table, you need a trigger. It cannot be it needs to be a field in the current table. Otherwise, it won't trigger the auto entry calculation, right? So when you do this, it's easy. You change this, you replace this like I did in the scripts. You have 35 records. You replace that with the current timestamp, and boom, 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 boom. You have a cascading effect. All the auto entry calculation that rely on that trigger will be automatically triggered, right? So now that it is possible to evaluate a global, no. So global won't work here, okay? The global cannot, okay, the question was, it is possible to evaluate a global field with a list of local field names and the table of, no, that won't work. Because you cannot say trigger these fields. No, so you need to have in the let statement, in the auto entry calculation of that field, you need to rely on another field that is going to be modified, right? So you cannot have a global with that one, because you cannot say, oh, update this one. You know, it's not. It's inside the calculation that you need to do this. It's this need to be inside the calc, not outside. So when you modify this, this will be automatically all those entry calculation, all of those at once will be evaluated, all of them, because you modify this. That trigger. That's why I call that trigger, because you have a trigger field, then, but you cannot do a global no. So let's continue. So now the two challenges that I have, and I'm going to show the challenge, and tomorrow we are going to continue the challenge. The challenge was not only I need, so what I can do, I want to delete those. Let's delete those. And delete those, and I'm going to delete those. Okay, want this one. And this one. Okay, so I deleted everything. The challenge was this. I am in October, right? When I generate the shifts on this for October, right, I'm generating it. Oh, I forgot to replace it. It's okay. So he's doing, so that gives you a good sense what happened when you don't do pesos, right? Look the time it takes. Will take forever, but I don't want to stop it because maybe I can stop it because it didn't do nothing here. So I can just take this one. See, it created nothing, right? It created just 18 records, right? So let's delete this and do it again. Do it again on pesos, because I switched to local. So now I'm going to go to pesos. So look the difference. Local versus pesos. Local in 10 seconds, it did 18 records. When you generate the scheduling on pesos, this is what happened, right? Boom. Right? Right? Okay. So that gives you the sense of 2 seconds. Your server has worked for 2 seconds to do this, to create 3 times 35 records with plenty of logic there, right? Putting the right T1, the right T2, etc. Right? So the challenge here, right? The first challenge was to put the T1 and the T2, etc. Right? And to switch the second guy to switch to T2, T off, and the third guy to switch to off T1, T1. That was the challenge, the first one. The second one was to see, hold on, I am in October, right? The first shifts stopped in off, 1 day off, right? This one ends, so it ends on 1 day off. It ends on 1 day T1, and it ends on 1 day T2. So I want the next month, November, to start with the second day off, the second T1, and the second T2 of that list. That was a challenge. Not only I need to put the right thing to the right spot, but I need to take care of this, right? So demonstration. So I go back there, and I'm creating a new schedule, and I'm going to create November, right? So when I validate this, I put my guys, whatever the guy, the guy doesn't matter. It's just I need 3 people. Not the same. Oh, not the same. Okay. So I have my 3 people, right? Remember, October was finishing with off T1, T2 of one on it. So now here I should have another off T1, T1, T2, T2, another T1, T2, T2 off, and another T2, T2. Okay, so that's what I need to have now to do the continuity with the previous month. So generating, you do this and boom. And effectively, it starts with the second day off. It starts with the second T1. It starts with the second T2, and then it continues the natural way, right? To do so, do you think I'm using crazy SQL and crazy constraints? And no, I use pure freaking logic. So demonstration. I want to go to the calendar, right? So first we have questions here. Is it possible to need to read from the last record? Okay. Yes, but no, it's not that. It would have been easy. Okay. The logic was, this is the logic. I go there and I'm taking October. Here I have a natural shift, a perfect shift. The perfect shift is start with T1, right? It's T1, T1, T2, T2, off. That is the perfect shift. The perfect shift. You start with T1, then T2, then off. That is the perfect one. The idea was, let's start the new shift, the new month, starting with the dates of the latest perfect shift of the previous month, which is the 27th. That's why my calendar, when I created, remember, it was starting on the 27th, remember? That's why I have 35 days in my month and not 31, is because I want to start the new month with a perfect shift. So I'm starting the new month with on the 27th of October until the 31st of November. And I'm generating my shifts the natural way, starting with T1, then T2, then off, etc. Naturally, like a perfect shift. And then what I'm doing, all the days, the extra days, the 35 days on the month, all the days that is not belonging to the current November month, delete them. That's it. So this is what I'm saying. Using the logic, the human logic, as a tool, right, as a part of the concept, since it is almost impossible to get the list to start on the last day of this, it needs to start with the latest perfect shifts, right, on the previous month. And the latest is the 27th. So now the interesting question would be how I'm doing this, right? Well, each time I'm generating a calendar, I'm preparing the calendar for the next month. I have a tag. I'm using tags a lot. Why? It's because relationship can count on it. You can insert this. You can say, yes, only when it's a one I want it, right? We use that as a constant. You can put that inside a relationship very easily, right? Take, for example, here, do I have the month here? If I take like this, I said, so you can see here, I have my, do I have the month? Yeah, month 4. So let's say I'm on the month 10. Okay. I'm on the month 10. This is my month 10. for all my guys, you know, for Alex, Daniel, and Nicholas. Okay. And here, this is the month 10. Okay. I'm preparing myself each time that I have a T1, the first T1. So that was another challenge here, right? The first T1, each time I have a 1. Why? Is because in my shift table, I'm preparing my stuff. So everything is matter of preparation, right? Here in my shift items, I have a tag starts, right? The tag starts. What is this tag starts? Each time, this is 1, this number, then targets. Each time this is 1, you need to target. So whatever is a 1 here, I don't care. It's the first. That means the shift starts with this. So I'm giving myself a helper. So, okay, by the way, from the beginning of the beginning, I am tagging this as a start, right? So the shift starts there. And I don't need to click a tag. No. They all start with 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Is that necessary to process the order, right? So here, every time I'm putting 1 here, boom, I have the tag demonstration. If I go to the shifts, right, item. So that all my shift items. I'm creating a new, right? Here, look the tag here. I'm putting 1, I have 1. If I'm putting 2, I don't have. Only if I have 1, right? So this helped me. So I have a tag, right? I have a tag I can rely on, right? I have a tag I can rely on. So now I know which one is starting. Yeah. Foxy Jack said, nice logic. Yeah, you prepare your thing. You put on the table everything you need. I need to detect which one is the first on this. Okay. So each time I have 1 here that I have a tag, 1, 0, and then now I can use it. But then I have a problem here. So that was the first challenge. And it took me half a day to do that. I have 2 T1 here. So here, that's what I was getting. I was getting 2 1s here, but it doesn't work. It doesn't work because I want the latest. I want the first of the latest. I want the first, right, of the latest. Because here now, right, I have a relationship, right, that give me this. Because, on the scheduling, right, I have this list of dates. This is every time that I start with T1 of the previous month. This start with the T1, 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 etc. Right? Right? So this is what I have. Right? So, and I want the latest of this, but I want the T1, only the first one to have a tag, not the second one. So here we have a technique, and I know it's a very dusty, what's the name? It's a very dusty function. When I say dusty, it's like it's on the shelf for a long time and nobody has taken it. Here, this is what I'm doing. So also I have a trigger, right? And the I'm getting the gets end records. So get what is this? Okay, first of all, a little polling here. Who knows about this? Who ever used that get nth records? I will be very surprised. I issued. So who is using? Yes, Jim. I used it before. Yes. I use nope, Jack, no. I use get and recondition for money. Yes. I use, okay, the last record from the table. Okay, that good. So people knows about this, but I'm going to explain it a bit. So if I take this, if I use this here, and I said gets nth records, and I want the tag, and I said the record number is the second record. Okay. So the first, so if I said, let's say I said 1 to 4, I said 4 or 5 or 3. Okay, 3. So I get the n records, the third, the on this field. I want in my list here, I want the first record. So for example, if I let's take let's take the date, for example. You can select from your list, you know, you see the date change. So you have so you can select in the font sets the record you want. Okay. But if I say, okay, get record number. So I am on this record here. I'm on the 4th, right? And I said -1. So now I'm getting the dates of before. I'm going the record of before, the record before this one. I am in the current one, and I'm getting the record of before. And I say, because here, remember, I have an auto entry calculation here that is going to happen sequentially because I'm going to create those records, new record, new record, new record. You remember this script here, new record, new record, new record, new record. So I'm going to create a new record, a new record. So when you arrive on that record, T1, the first one, it will put 1 here because, oh, it's a T1, I put 1. And here you say, oh, it's a T1, I put 1. Yes, no, you don't need to. Out because I have on my tag start says, yes, it's okay. It's okay. I understand that. But if the current record number I'm in now, -1 is already 1, put me 0 because I have it. I have my first, I don't need the second to happen. Right? Otherwise put it. If the record before, and this is because I need to make sure that it won't happen on the first record, on the first record. So the first record need to ignore that. So if the record before is already 1, then put 0. Otherwise, put it. Put whatever I have in my shift items. Remember the tag? Put the tag here. If the T1 is the tag said yes, it's the first one, put it but the first time, and then you don't put it again because the one before already have it, right? So this is how you use logic here, and this is the pure logic. It's not a FileMaker. I didn't try to use a custom function or SQL or whatever, right? Why? Because I say, okay, yeah, new record. When I land here, I say, okay, if the one before, because the logic was, okay, when I arrive here, is the one before here, I don't want it. That was the human logic, right? That a pure human logic. Even if you use Excel, you have the same logic, right? So you say, okay, if when I'm here, if the record before I already have it, don't put it. So it's super freaking simple using human logic and using to apply that logic FileMaker technique, which is the get end record to go to the record before. You don't try to say go to previous record. No, you don't write that, and you don't have a set field, and you don't have this. All of this is on the level of the auto entry calculation. So tomorrow I'm going to explain how I'm doing this, how I'm exploiting this, and how I'm doing this. So first of all, is that interesting for you guys? Because I know it's technical, but it's yes, okay. So you see the goal here, the goal I have. Okay, the goal I have here to talk to you today is to demonstrate once again, the power of the list of values, right? Because without the list of values, nothing of this is possible, right? Without generating the calendar before you generate the records, right? Without to use relationship in order to extract from the relationship lists of dates and then take the last one, because this is the goal here when you're here, right? And you have this relationship here, right? So I don't know why it was giving me the previous month here. Oh yeah, because I generated twice, that's why. So previous month I'm in there. So if I do lists like this and I want the dates, so forget about it. I generated twice the records, so that's why I'm going to clean up for tomorrow. So what I want right now, the latest one, okay, I want rights values of this, and I want the first, but not the last one, right? Because I have right values. All of those, this is possible because I'm using values, right? Without value, because I'm using a list like this. Without values, nothing is possible. How you can do this, without values? Oh, I want the last one of this. Oh, go to list view and go to last record, and that's slow. That's slow. That's slow. Go manipulating thing. Go to no. This I get it. This I get this before I even start anything. Before to go to the table, I have it because I'm using a relationship, and the relationship is very simple. Remember the tag? Okay. So the relationship is very simple. Previous month, because I'm calculating the previous month. That's super easy. Previous month is the month minus one, right? So it's very, very simple. So I have the previous month. So I have a field with the previous month. I have the current year because sometimes it can be like January of 2023. You don't want January of 2024 of 22, right? I want the employee records, right? I need that, and the tax thoughts, right? So that's what I want, right? So that's it. That's it. So out of this, I go to my previous month of the previous year. I want the first employee. That is how you do this. I want the first employee, the first. Each time you create this, right? So you give yourself, so before we go, you give yourself help here, right? This is record number one. Yeah. I have an employee number. Should be here, record number. This is a one, right? And if I go to my calendar here, I know for each shift which guy is employee number. Employee number. I know. In my shifts, that guy was the first, then the second, then the third. I know that, right? I know that. So because I want to, I want here to rely on the first employee, because that the first employee that give me those two I don't care. It's the first that matters. So I want to make sure, because it's just a bug preventing. It's a bug preventing thing. I want always the first of that records, right? So if we don't have any question, will be sample file be available soon or after the series? Let's talk to the boss about that, because I think he will want to brand it. He will want to brand it, because those sample files are extremely elaborated, right? So they are feature complete, right? So it's not like a small thing, you know. So you see, it's like a solution pretty much, right? It's like a solution pretty much. So so I know the boss wants to brand it, and you know, so I'm going to send it to the boss, and then he will give it to you guys. Okay. So all that sample file that are evaluated like this, because this is a lot of time, you know, if you want to create this, right? But it's a good exercise for you, and you're going to learn a lot dissecting this file. But tomorrow I'm going to continue. This is tomorrow, right, Marge?
Yes,
No,
we are.
tomorrow
Tomorrow's day 2.
Okay. So I will give the file, because the file is ready for many times. So I'm going to send the file today or tomorrow to the boss, and he will send it to you guys. Okay.
Cool. That sounds fantastic. Thank you very much, Nick. We greatly appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Okay. See you tomorrow, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Got a report of an individual up here who may be a FileMaker license. Well, it's potentially expired. Look at the back of that car right there. Looks like the FileMaker license has expired. Sir, I need you to step out of the vehicle. Sir, step out of the vehicle. Sir!